Hello everyone, welcome to the session Object Oriented Programming through Java. Today we are going to discuss static keyword in Java and myself Navya. I am an assistant professor from CSIT department in MLR Institute of Technology. So what we have discussed in the last class? We have discussed in the last class what is a method. We have discussed what is a method and how you are going to name a method and what are the characteristics of a method, and we have seen a small example programming for a method. And today in this class we are going to discuss what is a static variable, static method, static block. We are going to see these concepts. So we are going to see static keyword concepts. So what is a static keyword? So static is a keyword which is used for memory management mainly. Actually, we are going to use a static keyword for memory management. Here, we can apply the static variables for the following things. So, the static can be a variable, isn't it? So, also known as, we can call it as a class variable, and we can take the static as a method. So, you can apply static to a method also, which is called as class method. And you can have a static block, and you can have a static class or a static nested class. So, this static is the static keyword belongs to class other than the instance of a class. So, coming to the static variable. So, if you declare any variable as static, it is known as a static variable. If you declare any variable as a static, it is known as a static variable. So, it's a common property of all objects. When you are declaring a variable as a static, then it is common property for all the objects. Okay. For example, the company name of an employee will be same for him, the college name of a student will be same for everyone, isn't it? In the same way, when you declare a variable as a static, that could be a common property for all the objects. Now, this static variable gets memory only once in a class area. So, it's defined whenever whenever the memory is loaded for a class, then only the static variables will be loaded into the memory. So, shall we see a small example of a static variable? Okay. So, class, I want to go with a static variable. So, my class name is static variable. So, here if you static int x equals to 5. So, I am giving x value as 5 here. So, directly x equals to 5. Now, I am taking another variables y equals to 10, z equals to some 30. These are non-static variables, whereas static int x equals to 5 is a normal variables. So, this is a static variable. Okay, these are non-static variables. Now, when I define, so public static void main. So, if I was not declaring the value here first, what happens? Let us see. Okay. So, I am not declaring any value here. Now, I am creating an object. Static variable is my class name. S1 equals to new static variable, and if I just want to print the values, so system.out.println x equals to plus s1.x plus y equals to plus s1 dot y plus z equals to plus s1 dot z. Okay. Now I am creating another variable called s2. And I am taking s2 dot x equals to some 5. Now I just want to print the values of x, y and z with s2 object. Okay. So let us see what happens. Now we have to save it. Okay, so I am going to the command prompt. Java says space static variable dot java. So I don't have any errors. So see, what is the value of x? What is the value of x? X is 0, as I did not define the x value at the time of s1. So the value has been 0. Whenever I am creating s1 dot s2 dot x, x value will be same. For example, if I am changing it, okay, if I just want to have this after this, okay, if I was printing s1 value after s2 object variables. So what is the value of x? See here, it was sharing. So the static variable, when you are defining a static variable, the variable will be common to all the objects. Okay, so this is all about static variable. Coming to the static method, when you declare a method as static, then the method is said to be a static method. So when you apply keyword for any method, it is a static method. So you can see that a static method belongs to a class rather than the object of a class. Okay, and static method can be invoked. Need for creating, there is no need of creating an instance of a class using a class name, or directly you can, if it was in a same, if the static method belongs to the particular class, then you can call it directly, or if it was belonging to other class, then you can directly call using the class name dot method name. So the method can be accessed static data members and can change the value of it. Okay. So let us see a small example program of a static method. Okay. So class static method. So I am creating, there are two examples in this. So we can go with one example. I just want to print some value, some addition of two numbers better. So static sum, okay, int a comma int b. I just want to print it, that's it. Okay, system dot out dot println, I just want to print a plus b value. Okay, so public static, see here the main function is also a static function. Okay, I just want to give the values here itself. I just want to go with call, that's it. So I am just calling it with integer dot parseInt of arguments of 0 comma integer dot parseInt arguments of 1. So whatever the values I has given here, there I can go with and I can call. So this is a small example program for static method. Static method of Java. Okay, so let us compile it. Java C space static method dot Java. So I'm having an error. So I'm not returning anything. What was the error I have got? Invalid method declaration. Return type required. Okay, I have to go with void. So when I compile, I don't have any errors. Okay, now Java space static method, and I have to give two values. So I'm giving 5 and 10 here. So first what we are sending the parameters, those parameters A and B values I'm giving here. Okay, so what is the value I have got? 15. So here I did not call using previously in the last thing, in the last class methods we have seen, right? So in order to call a particular method, you are going to call a particular method using the object. So when it is a static method, you need not want to create an object. So directly you can call the method here. Okay, so now I am taking another example of this, simply the same thing. Okay, so I am taking another class called static method and I am creating in this. Okay, here I has to call using the I can directly, you can call it as with the class name. Okay, so I am taking the same thing, say 15. So I am need not created. If you are writing a static method in another class other than a class and main function where you are calling, so you has to use the class name dot the method name. So this is all about the static method. Okay, next starting block. So static block is nothing but directly it is used to initialize the static data members. So we are going to use this as static. You will have a block. This is used to initialize the static variables and it will be executed before the main method at the time of class loading. Okay, and see, this is an example. Simply class A2 which consists of a static block, you can say static block is invoked, and so class static block. So here simply you has to write static and I'm just printing something here. Okay, system.out.println. Okay, static block invoked. Okay, I just want to notify it, so that's why I'm writing here. Next, I'm having a method called public static void main, which is the execution start from main method. String arguments. Okay, so here just I'm printing hello main. Okay, hello everyone. So hello everyone is in the main method of the particular class. So static block dot Java. So when I execute it, Java C space static block dot Java. So no errors. So Java static block. See here, what you have observed, static block is involved. So every time what happens, the execution starts from main function, right? But here when you are written static block, before executing the main, it will go to the static block. Okay, these are the points we have seen. So this is used to initialize the static data members, and it is executed before the main method at the time of class loading. Next, last one, static class, which is static class is nothing but a class is defined within another class. So these are called as nested classes. A class to be defined within another class is called as nested classes, or you can call it as static classes. Okay, so the class can be static. So here some classes can be made in the Java. So Java supports static in we have seen before it, right? So static instance variables, static methods, and static blocks, and static classes also. So here in the nested classes, the outer class, first you are defining a class A inside another class B. So it is called as outer class, and this is called as inner class. And you will have the major difference between the static nested classes and inner classes. So the static nested classes may be instantiated without using, so without this class, if it was a static class, for example, this can be instantiated before you need not instantiate the A class. And inner classes can be accessed both static and non-static methods, and the static classes can only access static members of the outer class. Okay, this is the only difference. So what we have seen in today's session is what is a static keyword, how can, whenever you write something static before a variable, where you can write before a variable you can write, and before a method you can write, and before a class you can write, and you can have a static block, and it's also called as nested blocks. This is what we have seen in today's session. Thank you for the session.